Hi, what's good? You know, for as much as I watch baseball, I don't have any content related to it on either of my channels right now, so I might as well do something about that. I know no one asked. In fact, maybe some of the people watching this channel have no idea that I'm a baseball guy. But I am. I do watch baseball. I'm a big fan of it. I'd probably be watching baseball right now, but instead I'm doing this video. I'm doing this right as the Dodgers and Padres game in Seoul is going on, where my son Gavin Lux has defied the laws of causality and caused bad things to happen to his enemies, and I am extremely proud of him. So this is the prediction contest that the baseball subreddit does every year, and I take part in it every year, and then I forget about it until the very end of the year or so, where they release the result, and then I can look myself up to see how wrong I was. But this way, I'll have a much more clear way of go. I'll have much more proof of the things that I did. I can more easily go back and see just how terrible and stupid I am, and how wrong my predictions were. So that's what I'm going to do here. 1 second. Okay. Just wanted to check something. So I actually already started it a little bit. So the first couple of divisions have already been filled out. So the first part of this is just predicting the season standings. So essentially where every team is going to place respective to their division. So American League East, talking about that real quick. I think it's pretty easy to predict the winner, the Orioles. I don't necessarily think they're going to win 100 games again, but they were really good last year anyway. Their core is extremely young. There's no reason to believe that they'll be significantly worse than anybody. And maybe more importantly is I don't think any particular team in the AL East really improved all that much. The Orioles did improve at least a little bit. They got Corbin Burns. So they got Corbius on their side. I'm not really sure how much. Like every team in the AL East did something, except I don't know what the Rays did. I think the Rays maybe made a couple of trades, which is the typical Rays model, just make a couple of trades. But I aside from that, I can't look at any team and say oh yeah, this team's so much better than they were last year. So yeah, so I've got the Orioles in first. I don't think it'll be an easy division for them to win. I think there will be competition. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of like last year, where they still have 4 teams above 500, even if one of those teams is only 82 and 80. I think it's going to be the Orioles in first, and then I think the Blue Jays will be in second. I feel like the Blue Jays are always just a solid team. I mean, they have been a solid team for the last 3 seasons. They've been a 90-win team for each of the last 3 seasons, and I have no reason to believe that won't continue. But again, I don't what I forgot what they even did in this season. The Blue Jays were always in the news, but they didn't actually do anything. They were in the running for Ohtani, didn't work. They were in the running for Bellinger, didn't work. It's like they were in on these big free agents, but they didn't really do much. Maybe I'll just open BREF. Actually, I should go to Fangraphs would be better. I forgot where. Oh no, it will say in the roster resource what they did. Can I get more transactions? Never mind. This wasn't what I. This wasn't. Okay, so they. Yeah. Yeah, they lost Chapman. They lost Hicks. They brought back Kiermaier. Was that the only thing they did? Was that the only thing, the only notable thing the Blue Jays did aside from losing? Maybe I shouldn't expect them to be that good. They're also kind of weird. Oh, they signed Joey Votto, the GOAT. Yeah, wow. I didn't realize they had that empty of an off season. They brought in IKF. They brought in Justin Turner. That's kind of cool. Wow, they really did nothing. Okay. You know what? Maybe I should change this. Yeah, I'm not liking this. Yankees in second. Do I go with that? Yeah, the Yankees. I mean, they only won 82 games last season, and the thing is, I actually didn't take the Yankees all that seriously the year before. I thought in 2022 they were going to have a fall off. I thought 2021 they were fine, but they only made lateral moves. Like that offseason, they only brought in Donaldson and IKF, and I think they might have done like a couple other things, but it wasn't like all that impressive of an offseason. But then they won 99 games because Judge had the best season ever. And then 2023 is where they actually do fall off. So I felt like I was kind of vindicated. It's like, okay, I was right. They did fall off, just not when I expected them to. But at the same time, they also had like really weird things happen to them, like the Rizzo stuff, Rodon just like not even pitching. Well, actually, he did pitch a lot, but he was terrible, and you can just blame it on an injury, maybe. Stanton, like a lot of weird things happened with the Yankees. They were trying new guys out. They were trying out Volpe, these younger guys. So they had a weird season. I can't imagine them being, worse. Especially now that they have Soto. They did lose Garrett Cole, at least for a little bit, which does make me wonder. And the thing is, like, Garrett Cole's kind of carrying that rotation right now, so I'm not really sure what they do without him. But I don't know. It's like the Yankees will just find a way. It's like they're just inevitable. They're always going to be good, so I might as well just put them in second. I might actually put the Rays in third. I might not even have the Blue Jays in third because, I mean, the Rays... I said the Yankees always find ways to be good, and that's kind of true. But, like, if there's a team that always finds ways to be good, it's the Rays. They are just constantly at the top. They just, like, even if they lost their best player, and Wander was obviously their best player, Yandy Diaz had an amazing season. Even if that, like, doesn't happen again, they're still going to have really good players on the team. Yeah, I don't really think they did much of anything. They traded Glass now. I don't actually think that's going to hurt them that much. Again, it's the Rays. They just find ways. Yeah, I'm going to put them in third. Sorry, Blue Jays, but like, man, you had a dog shit off season. Sucks to be you. Boston, last place. I mean, someone has to lose this division. They weren't that good last year. I don't see any reason for them to be getting any particularly better. I do like their young pitchers. I do like Brian Bello and Cutter Crawford. I think they had like someone else I liked. Like they have guys. I don't think the Red Sox are going to be a completely terrible year. I think they might be at worst like 75 wins, which isn't like the worst thing ever. But for the Red Sox, I guess that is pretty bad. But yeah, just not a good offseason for them. All right, AL Central standings. I already filled this one out, and I've talked about this a lot on my own stuff because I'm a Royals fan. So I talked about the AL Central extensively. TLDR is that, I think this is interesting because people look at the Royals as this team that's going to have this dramatic improvement because they've got these really young players that can still be studs, even if some of them were disappointing last season, and they brought in all of these free agents, right? But I feel like most of that can still apply to the Tigers. The Tigers didn't add a whole lot, but they have some really, really good young talent, and even if they're not adding as in like a free agency addition, they're not adding in terms of free agent acquisitions. They've had a lot of injuries, especially to their pitching staff. Like the whole rebuild that they've been in for like 7 years, it was all centered around starting pitching. And so, and a lot of those guys are at least the top guys, like Casey Mize, Matt Manning. I think Tarek Skubal was one of them. They've had these really great studly pitchers, and they just all got shot around 2022. So they've really gone most of the last 2 seasons without their best guys, at least in the rotation, at least on the pitching staff, and they seem to be finally starting to come back. So I really think that Detroit is going to be the team that kind of pokes out of the ALC. I think that people aren't really giving. I mean, they weren't even bad last season. They placed second last season. They were almost a 500 team. I'll say that I would be a lot more confident if they went out and got like a legit a legit free agent. Like if they signed JD Martinez, I don't think they should do that right now. They should sign JD Martinez right now. But if they could sign like Cody Bellinger or something, I know this offseason wasn't great for hitters, but even still, if they just got someone, or like one really good bat or a couple of solid bats, then I would be a lot more confident in them. They did bring in some. They got Gio Urshela, someone else I forgot off the top of my head, but you know, if they just did a little more this offseason, I feel like people would be giving them a lot more respect. I'm a little bit surprised that not a lot of people are saying that the Tigers are the ones going to that are going to lead this division, because everyone's saying, "Oh, the American League Central, it's so bad. It's such a weak, uncompetitive division. So much so that the Royals, who lost 106 games last season, could sneak up and win this division." And I'm just like, okay, but shouldn't the same logic apply to literally any other team, especially the Tigers, who have, again, very young and awesome talent? You know, Riley Green is freaking awesome. Torek is putting it together. They got Colt Keith, who, you know, hope if he breaks out, then, you know, that's just three insane hitters right there. So yeah, I'm just kind of giving the Tigers you know, something. I'm showing them respect. I respect the Tigers. I feel like not a lot of people are doing that. The Twins, you know, it seems like the Twins should be, you know, like I can't say that word. The winners, the inevitable winners of this division. And like that could be kind of true. I think the Twins will have a similar season to last year, where they're solid in the regular season. I'm thinking like around 85 wins again. And they could probably be a low wild card, like a low wild card getter. But I just think the Tigers are going to leap over them. Because the Twins, big problem with the Twins is that they lost arguably their best pitcher in free agency, which was Sonny Gray. And now, granted, Sonny Gray might not actually be pitching in 2024, so it's not like it matters, I guess. But it's still a difference maker. Like, Sonny Gray was freaking incredible for them last season. So just not having that again, his presence will be missed. And they didn't really replace him. Like, I think they did. They brought in someone, not anyone like amazing though. Like, definitely a step down. Who did they bring in? It probably like it doesn't really matter that much. I'm pretty sure. And they like the only hitter they signed was Carlos Santana. So they had a very quiet offseason. They don't seem to have. Oh, was it really Anthony Desclafani? Was it really him? Oh man, that's terrible. Unless I'm missing someone. Yeah, oh wow, that's their replacement for Sonny Gray. I mean, they still have like a good rotation. They still have guys in their lineup. Big question mark is what's going to happen with Correa and Buxton, because they were pretty bad last season. I mean, Buxton, he's 30, he could still bounce back, but every season it's like, how much is he actually going to play? Correa, he's still 29, and he's had bad seasons before and bounced back from them, so I guess I wouldn't be too worried about him. I still like the rotation. I love Pablo Lopez. I thought it was just I thought acquiring him and then extending him was a brilliant couple of moves by them. I really believe in Joe Ryan. I think this guy's a stud. They've got depth. They've got some guys. I think the Twins will be at least solid. So I'm saying second. Again, Joe, though, I just think the Tigers will be a little bit better. I think the Tigers will be like 88 wins or so, and then Twins will be like 85. Third place, I'm saying the Cleveland Guardians. I wouldn't be surprised if they again, I think they're going to be kind of similar to last season. And I feel like last season is maybe more in line of what they like should be at this point, because I know 2022 they won 92 games, but they also had like crazy, insane, out of nowhere breakouts from Steven Kwan, Andres Jimenez. You know, like it was just like Andres Jimenez was a 7.4 WAR player in 2022. Like, are you kidding me? Like, there no way was that going to keep up. So sure enough, those guys fell off. Like, not even like that they're bad or anything. It's just that, you know, they weren't amazing like they were in 2022. So I think that hurt them a lot. I think the pitching depth is actually running a little bit thin. Shane Bieber's peripherals are just like god awful. And yeah, they didn't have like a totally full rotation. They didn't have a 150 inning pitcher last season. It's weird. Like, the Guardians are always, like, Cleveland's always so great at developing pitchers and just finding guys. And I think they'll still do that. Like, they do. Like, I remember looking at their projections, and that included like guys in the minor leagues. And like, they still have a lot of guys. They just don't have a lot at the top. That's the thing. So I think as usual, Cleveland will be like they'll be around, and whenever you see them on the schedule, you're not going to be like, oh boy, here's Cleveland, let's easy 3-0 right here, easy sweep. But I don't think they're going to be all that threatening. They'll just be like, they'll be annoying to face. They'll be inoffensively mediocre as a team. That's about it. They just don't have enough. Like, they don't have a Cy Young contender. J Ram is amazing, but there's only so much one hitter can do in the lineup. So, yeah, I just don't really see the Guardians doing all that much, because they did like they did literally nothing in the offseason. I think they brought in another catcher, and that was it. They just did not they did nothing else. So, yeah, I don't really see them getting much better. Royals I have in fourth. I think the Royals will be a lot better than they were last season, but also note that they were so bad that a 20-game improvement would only put them at 76 wins. So I think they'll actually be really, really close with the Guardians. I think both the Guardians and the Royals are like 75 to 80 win teams. But I also think the Royals might have more. The Royals have a much lower floor. That's the thing. The Royals have a way lower floor. They could lose another 90 games this season, even with all the guys they brought in, even with some of the studs they had that they kind of discovered in the second half of last season. Like, Cole Reagans is amazing. He's my guy, but this guy has not pitched a full season in the majors. What is that going to look like for him? And there are some things to believe in. There are some guys who like show that they could still break out, like MJ Melendez, Michael Garcia, but like so much has to happen for this team to be anything but like inoffensively mediocre. I just cannot in good faith say that that's 100% going to happen. So I'm going to, stay humble and say Royals fourth place this season, but improvements can be incremental, so I don't think that this will be their peak, at least not for the next several years. So I'll leave it at that. And then fifth place, White Sox. This is just a no-brainer. For what it's worth, the White Sox did do a lot this offseason. They did bring in a lot of guys. A lot of them used to play for the Royals for some reason. Like, the entire front office is like former Royals, and they're bringing in all these players who used to be on the Royals, and it's like, why are they? It's not even like they're bringing in Dayton Moore, the GM from 2015. Like, they're not bringing in like the good guys from the Royals that really made a positive difference in the organization. They're bringing in like guys that like we don't want anymore, and it's like. And same goes with the players. Like, Nicky Lopez, cool guy. Don't need him anymore right now, unfortunately. Mike Moustakas, they gave him a minor league deal. I love Moose. No use for him on the team anymore. Andrew Benintendi, thanks for your services. We're good now. It's like, they didn't even bring in guys that, like, we really miss all that much. Or are, like, super valuable as players. They brought in, like, some of the mid guys. It's like, I don't know. The White Sox are just... Those guys are insane. They're bizarre. Like, truly and honestly, maybe the worst run team in this, at least on this side of the league. The National League has the Rockies, which is like comically stupid. And a lot more often than the White Sox, but whatever. All right, American League West. All right, I didn't fill this one out, so we're gonna do this in real time. The thing about the AL West is that I think it's a bit difficult to determine who the top really is. It makes sense that the odds are so close, but with the Astros, Rangers, and Mariners, like, you could see any of these three teams taking it. I'm going to rule out the Mariners. Like, I want the Mariners to be good. I want them to be so good. I really am pulling for this team, but you just can't trust them. They've always been that's been the Mariners' MO. It's, you always look at this team and you think this really could be a great team if only they did one more thing or so, and they just never do that, and their results speak for themselves. They're usually one step away. So I don't think the Mariners are going to win the division. The Astros and Rangers were evenly matched. They both won 90 games last season. Um, I think I think it's going to be the Rangers. I just think the Rangers have a lot going for them. Um, but the top of that roster is so freaking good. That middle infield, most of that infield, frankly, Seager, Semien, and then Young, like just freaking incredible hitters right there. Adolis Garcia, fantastic. Their catcher's solid. Their rotation's like all right. Like they're a good team. I don't know if they're going to be like amazing. I'm actually not. Now that I think about it, the entire American League, I'm not entirely sure like who the best overall team is going to be. I don't know if there's like a super high ceiling for any of these teams. Like, oh yeah, this team's definitely winning 100 this next season, or even like 95. Might be interesting seeing how the AL East or how the AL in general shakes up. Yeah, but I just don't have enough reason to believe the Rangers will be like worse this season. Whereas the Astros continue to get older, and I think the only big thing they did this offseason was bring in Josh Hader, which definitely makes them a bit better of a team. But I don't know. I don't really think that a closer is going to be that much of a difference maker for them. I mean, Josh Hader will add a couple or maybe even a few wins to the roster. Although, actually, now that I think about it, their roster isn't quite as old as I thought. I genuinely um, forget how young Kyle Tucker is. This dude's going to be 27 this next season. Yordan Alvarez, of course. Like, sure, he might only play half the season, but oh man, is he going to be good when he plays? And they got rid of Maldonado finally. They brought in a new catcher who seems to be a stud. They actually do have guys. Wait, oh man, could the Astros win the division again? The thing is, their rotation took a huge step back, and I mean Verlander's still around. He's also 41 now, and he's not even pitching right now, is he? I haven't heard anything about Justin Verlander. I don't know what's going on with him. He doesn't have any spring training stats. Um, they also changed managers, which is another thing. They're bringing in a rookie manager. I don't know how I feel about the Astros. This is tough. This one's really tough. This could go either way. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt to the Rangers because at the end of the day, they're the ones who won the most important games, which are the World Series games. So I'm gonna say Rangers first. I'm gonna say Astros second, Mariners third, and then I mean the rest speaks for itself. Angels fourth, Athletics fifth. I mean the Angels. God, you know what? I not only do I think the Angels will be fourth. Actually, here's a hot take. I wouldn't be surprised if the Angels are worse than the Athletics this season. I mean, I don't think it's entirely likely, but the Athletics, they don't have a completely terrible roster. They actually did underperform. Well, they underperformed only like by a game or two, but they still have some guys that you can kind of dream on. And sure, that's kind of the same with the Angels, but I mean, like when they had Otani and Trout healthy, they still only won like 75 games or so, which I believe in 2021 that was the last time Trout played like 120 games, and that was of course the first big Otani season, and they won 77. Like, yippee, dude. Oh wait, no, Trout played 36 games that season. Whoops. Okay, well 2022 he played 120 and they won 73 games. Like, I've never believed in the Angels. I've always believed them to be a horribly, completely and offensively run organization. I don't think it's like a coincidence that they've just been so bad for the last 10 years or so, even with some of the most gifted baseball players of all time. I just think they continuously make terrible decisions, and clearly behind the scenes, a lot of things are just wrong with that organization. So, just bad, awful. Yeah, fourth place. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose 100 games. I mean, maybe not this season, but very soon it's going to happen. It's just got to happen. They need a rebuild. They're not fully committing to it. It's going to bite them. It's going to kill them. And once they maybe eventually they do start rebuilding, or at the very least they'll have a wake up call like the White Sox did last season, where the bottom just completely falls out and there's nothing anybody can do about it. I got a ping. Hang on. All right, I'm back. I think I lost my train of thought. Angels bad. A's also bad, but I mean that team. I'll say this about the Angels. At least the Angels have a ceiling, even if it's pretty much unreachable. Like, sure, the Angels might be good if these young guys like Schwannel, is that the name? I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. Their first baseman, O'Hop and Nato are like good. And Trout's fully healthy. If I didn't say that already, but again, this team, things always just go wrong for them. Even when things go right for them, it's like they're not going to last. Like Mickey Moniak, BABIP Merchant, the biggest I've ever seen. That dude's not going to be a 2-WAR player moving forward, unfortunately. So yeah, they just ain't it. I don't trust the Angels. They're bad, and the A's probably won't even have a home stadium in like a year or two. So that's cool. All right, so predict the American League seed. Oh boy, yeah, this is tough. This is really, really tough. I mean, like, I don't think the Tigers are going to be like that great. The Rangers. Do I think the Rangers will be the better than the Orioles? You know what? I'm just going to have to give it to the Orioles. I'll just do that. Number 2 seed. I'll say Rangers. Rangers 2 seed. Yankees, I'm actually going to say they're the 3 seed, even if I only think they're like a low 90 win team. Astros, 4 seed. Where are the Astros? Houston Astros. And 5 seed will be the Tigers. 6 seed will be the Rays or Twins. Rays or Twins. I'll say Rays. Again, Rays always find ways. Okay. Now we're in the National League. So NL East standings, I think it's pretty easy to predict the Braves winning the division. That lineup is just so freaking mean. Their rotation, they've got some young guys like Bryce Elder, I think, and Spencer Strider is just a freaking god. And Chris Sale, who knows how long he's going to last, but he's already looking pretty good. So yeah, the Braves made all of these really weird, like, galaxy brain moves last off season. It was interesting. They didn't like spend money or anything, which is funny seeing like people. I'm seeing like disgruntled Braves fans saying that AA is a cheap GM or something. It's like, are you guys kidding? They brought in Vaughn Grissom for oh wait, no, they traded away Vaughn Grissom. Never mind. I'm stupid. I got my thoughts mixed up there. David Fletcher. They made like all these weird chains of trades. I wanted to believe that Jared Kelenic would be really, really good with them. He's looking pretty terrible in spring training, though. Like, holy crap. Yeah, I don't know. They didn't really like add a whole lot. They had a weird offseason, but honestly not one that's all that eventful looking back. But look, this team won 104 games last season, and it's still young. Like, the only guys below 30 are Ozuna, which it's kind of amazing he's still around, but he's hitting well for them, so there's that. Eddie Rosario and Matt Olson will be 30 next season. It's like, that's unbelievable. The kind of season Acuna had, just what scares me the most about Acuna is that he went from like 25% strikeouts to 11 last season. Just like this unbelievable improvement that you have to wonder, what if he continues improving? Because it's not out of the realm of possibility. He's going to be 26 next season. I mean, they just have so much to believe in, so much to bet on. The sky is the limit for this team. Honestly, the Braves are just so freaking good. Second place, I think second place will be the Phillies again. Phillies, I think they'll just be like about where they were last season. Good, great, even. Of course, the question is, how far will they get in the postseason? I don't know. But I love the rotation. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, two fantastic guys. I wish there was a chance that the Royals could have gotten Aaron Nola in the offseason, but it doesn't look like that was possible. Oh well, I still wanted to dream. I think that guy's great, even if his like ERA and stuff are great. I totally believe in him. I think he'll be fine. But yeah, just of course though, the thing with the Phillies is that they just have fantastic hitters, just amazing hitters. Bryce Harper is fantastic as usual. Castellanos, Trey Turner. And Trey Turner, the thing is, Trey Turner is like, Baseball Reference says he's their fifth most valuable player, even though he was dog water for like 2/3 of the season, and then he had this unbelievable August and September. So Philly, they've got good vibes, they've got good players. I think they'll be like a 90-ish win team again. Just unfortunate that the Braves are so freaking incredible. Third place. Third place, you know what? Here's a hot take. I'm going to say Nationals third place. And the thing is, I like the Marlins. I really do, but they're already going into the season with, like, no one in their rotation because the pitching injuries are just devouring them right now, unfortunately. So yeah, I think the Marlins just aren't really gonna. I don't think they're gonna hold up very well. I don't think they're gonna be above 500. And they're another team where it's like you could see it working for them, but they needed to do more, and they didn't really do anything this last offseason. They lost Soler. I feel like they lost a pitcher or two. Um, yeah, they're just. Again, I want to believe in these guys. I think these guys can be good. I just can't really, in good faith, see it happening. The Nationals, meanwhile, here's the thing about the Nationals. The Nationals have a lot of young talent that started coming up last season, and they had a weird second half where, like, after the All-Star break to the end of August, they were like playing 500 ball. And then they had like the worst September ever. They won like 5 games in September. It was really weird. And it's not even like they had a super easy schedule. They were going up against like divisional opponents. They were going up against like the Cubs and the Marlins and actually like taking 2 or 3, or even I think they swept a good team at some point in August. Like the Nationals were playing good baseball in the second half of the season until, September. So they got some guys to believe in. I don't think they're going to be like amazing or anything, but I do think they'll be on the rise, and I think that I think that they're out of the worst part of their rebuild. So yeah, and actually, this might actually put the Marlins in fifth because even though there's not much reason to believe in the Mets being good, and I don't think the Mets will be good, they're really trying to embrace rebuilding. They didn't go crazy, like they didn't really do anything this offseason. Yeah, the Mets were like dead silent this offseason. After going supernova with all of the free agent spending, they very quickly realized it didn't work, and then they're just like, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. They traded pieces off, and like Steve Cohen even admitted, he's like, yeah, we're gonna like take a step back and let some young talent come up through this system. So yeah, do I think they'll be worse than the Marlins? I don't know. It's tough to say. The Marlins like maybe have a bit better of a floor. The thing is though, like the Mets, they're not afraid of selling. They're not afraid of trading away guys, and like they are like in a contract year with Pete Alonso and I think a couple other important guys. So yeah, this is actually tough. We also have to remember that the Mets are pretty silly, so I'm going to say Mets fifth and Marlins fourth. Yeah, I'll just do that. Predict the National League Central standings. So Cubs have top odds. That doesn't surprise me. I am going to say Cubs. The Cubs, Oh wait, actually, Cardinals have the top odds. I don't know about that. They did bring it. So the Cardinals brought in like workhorse pitchers. They brought in Lance Lynn and someone else, like another 38-year-old pitcher or whatever. But then they brought in Sonny Gray, Kyle Gibson. That's who it was. But then they brought in Sonny Gray, and then it's like, oh, Oh, there's a good pitcher on here now. Problem is, Sonny Gray's injured now. uh, so I don't know for yeah. So IL stint not guaranteed. So it's not clear how long Sonny Gray is going to be out, but he will be out. And it's weird. The Cardinals did have a super down season last year, but I also think that I just kind of think they were a team that never really found its footing. So I think they kind of like I don't know got in their own way a little bit because they had Adam Wainwright on there who just had like the worst season imaginable. But they still have guys and they're still going to be amazing. Sure, Goldschmidt and Arenado stepped down a bit, but it's not like they're super bad. And I just don't know if it's fair to say that like that's going to be the new norm for these guys. Um, I don't know. It does seem like the organization is in a bit of disarray. It does seem like there were some weird things going on with the team. Like apparently Wilson Contreras is a very controversial presence. Not even because of anything he did, I guess, but because it's like it basically seems like Yadier Molina ran the team really well, just while playing, and now that he's not around anymore, things just have just unraveled. Um, so that's all reasons why I don't think the Cardinals are actually going to be that good. But I mean, sure, they do have some reasons for reasons to believe in them. But I think the Cubs, I I think the Cubs were solid last year, and I expect them to be that. And I just don't really see much reason for them to be particularly worse, honestly. Um, and keep in mind they also brought in the Brewers manager. They brought in I forgot the guy's name suddenly. I'm trying to think about so many things at once, so I can't remember things so well. Whoa, they brought in Richard Lovelady. They brought in Dick Lovelady. Hell yeah, good job, Cubs. See, that's why the Cubs are going to win this division. Sure, the Cubs didn't do all that much except bringing back Cody Bellinger, so just kind of retaining themselves. But I think that's going to be enough. They've got some young talent that really stepped up last year. Justin Steele is a freaking beast. They did kind of lose some guys in the rotation, but I also think they had like injuries in general. So yeah, I'm gonna say Cubs in first place, and then second place I'm gonna give it to the Reds. I think the Reds have a ton of talent. It's like that entire lineup is like all guys like under 28 years old. Just so many super young players and a ceiling that could actually be really surprisingly high. I think um, a big difference maker for the team. Like a lot of the team, I think how well Ellie De La Cruz does will kind of determine how good the Reds are this next season. Because EDLC is just this absolutely unbelievable player, and again, sky is the limit for him. But he also comes with a lot of risk. He's just one of the biggest boom or bust type of players that I think we've seen in recent years. So yeah, but even if he doesn't work out very well, they just have so many other freaking fantastic players. Matt McLean, Encarnacion Strand. It's funny how like the discussion around like Jonathan India is how he's not very good, but even still, he had like a 109 OPS plus last season or something. Oh, 100, which is just average. But I mean, hey, he's a second baseman, so being an average hitter at second base is fine. They've got just so many guys. I like the rotation that they've been building. Hunter Green I think is fantastic. Graham Ashcraft I'm actually a big fan of. So and they both had like weird kind of underwhelming seasons. I think they'll improve. Yeah, I think internally they'll improve in the rotation. And they brought in they didn't do much either, but well, honestly most teams didn't do much. But they did at least bring in Jamer Candelario, who I honestly kind of don't love. But, it's something. And, yeah, I just think they're solid. Brent Suter, one of my favorite relievers, they also brought him in. Yeah, I think the Reds they were really on the upswing last year. They were very kind of, I don't know if like hot and cold would be, like they started off pretty bad. Right, they were almost 10 games below 500 at some point, but they, finished the season above 500. So they definitely started off. They definitely finished strong. They were even like They were a wild card contender, which almost seems silly, but the, two two of the wild card winners in the National League won 84 games. So yeah, they were only 2 games out. So yeah, I think the Reds will be pretty good this year. Milwaukee Brewers, on the other hand, I think they'll be third. Actually, I don't even know if third. I don't even know if they'll be in third because they're losing some pieces. They're really starting to rebuild. They already lost Brandon Woodruff to injury. Then they traded away Corbius. They do have like guys on the way. The thing I like and really respect about the Brewers is that they seem to be trying to they seem to be trying to maintain at least some kind of like respectability. Like that front office is doing whatever they can to avoid having like 100-loss season. They're just going to be like, you know what? We can't constantly compete because we can't constantly spend money like the big teams do, but we can at least maintain a good farm system and just keep enough on the roster so that we can be a solid team. We might not make the playoffs every year. We might not even have a winning season every year, but we're at least not going to be an embarrassment. I think I respect that a lot about the Brewers, and I think that this season they're going to take a big step back because of what they've had to lose, including their manager. Like Craig Counsell, that was his name. That guy has done so much for this team. He has utilized all the rosters he's been given about as best as he possibly could. And it's unfortunate that the Brewers like never get far in the postseason, especially last year. Like they didn't. It's like their rotation just kind of like fell off in the 2 games they played. It's like, how do you like what did the Brewers do so wrong? It's a bit unfortunate. I like this team a lot. I really like the Brewers. I would honestly go as far as to say that they're my preferred National League team, but this just isn't going to be their year. I think they're going to be retooling, rebuilding a little bit, but I don't think they're going to be that bad. So I'm actually going to say Cardinals third place. Oh, man, I'm kind of forgetting about the Pirates as well. The Pirates weren't terrible last season. They were not terrible, and they do have some young talent that's coming up, or has already come up, and it's just kind of like working through it. Man, oh, this is tough. Maybe the Brewers actually will be fifth, but also at the same time, I don't know how much to believe in the Cardinals. This could be a very surprisingly competitive division, the National League Central, even more so than last year. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say Pirates third, Brewers fourth, Cardinals fifth. I'm actually putting the Cardinals down now because you know what? I don't like the Cardinals, so take that, nerds. Especially since I think if the Cardinals have another bad season, they're probably just going to start selling. I mean, they sold a little bit last year, but I still think they kind of looked at themselves thinking, hey, we can bounce back from this next season. So I think if they have another bad season, they're going to be like, okay, we need to rethink what we're doing, and maybe we need to start selling off guys. And it's a contract year for Goldschmidt, so they can do that. They can just trade Goldschmidt. So yeah, I'm going to say the Cardinals will be last place. They'll probably be like another 90-loss team. National League West. Yeah, we know who's winning this division, unfortunately. The rest will be interesting, though, because the D-backs, Padres, and Giants are all competitive. And the thing is, the Giants had this ridiculous offseason. It's kind of funny how the discussion about the Giants for most of the season was that, oh, they missed out on Ohtani and then Yamamoto and then whoever else, and it's all because San Francisco is like this awful hellhole nightmare city. Like so many people this offseason just came out to just put down San Francisco as a city and then say, oh, that's why players aren't signing over here. No one wants to play in San Francisco. The homeless population of San Francisco is preventing players from signing because San Francisco is the only city in America that has homeless people. It's like that's how some people talked, or at least sounded throughout the offseason. Just highlighting all these terrible things about San Francisco, and it's like, you can say that about Los Angeles, you freaking bozo. Whatever. But at the end of the day, the Giants actually brought in a lot of guys. They brought in that Korean hitter, Lee. They brought in Chapman, and then they got Snell. They actually like really benefited from this offseason being so strange, and some of these guys just not getting the deals they wanted. Chapman and Snell being the two big ones. So, yeah, you know what? I mean, and it's not even like the Giants were bad last season. They were around 500, a little under it, but still. And they already had some guys in place. I don't like the lineup at all, but I mean, Logan Webb is a freaking beast. That guy's awesome. So, I actually think the Giants will take a bit of a step forward and be a much more competitive team. Oh, actually, here's the thing. Now that I'm looking at this again, I actually don't know how much. I mean, like I'm kind of saying like, oh yeah, Logan Webb's good, but he's also like the only pitcher I can see being like great. I mean, Alex Cobb is good, I guess. He's 36 years old though. And here's the other thing: the Diamondbacks have been on the rise for the last couple of seasons, and they just have such fantastic players all around. Like the lineup's pretty cool with guys like Ketel Marte and of course Corbin Carroll, being a stud. And then the rotation, like the rotation's always been good. Like not always been good, but like Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly just being awesome. Zach Gallen, I mean, both of those guys are like two of my favorite pitchers in the National League. They're just fantastic. But then Brandon Pfaadt stepped up big time, and they brought in Erod, who I don't love. I don't think that's going to be all that great of a deal for them, but it's still something. Yeah. They kept Lourdes Gurriel. They brought in Jock Peterson. Like they made some like solid or they made like some okay moves. I guess they didn't have a crazy great off season. Not quite like the Dodgers and the Giants did, but they did still like hold their ground. And that team is just so young. I think I actually have to say they're going to be second place in the NL West. I feel like it's only fair to give them that. So yeah. Third place, I'm going to say Giants for the reasons that I tried to use for explaining them in second place, but then talked myself out of, which would leave the Padres in fourth place, and that seems so disappointing and heartbreaking because they tried so hard to be a good team, but they lost so much in the offseason that I just like how and for what it's worth, they underperformed dramatically in 2023. They underperformed by like 10 games or something. It's ridiculous. But even still, they lost a lot of their best pieces. I just don't really know how they can even if you wanted to say that they should have been a 90 win team last season, like okay, sure, fair, but after losing so much, can we say they're going to be a 90 win team again? I don't see that happening. And then the Rockies are bad. They suck. All right, number one National League seed. Actually, here's the thing: as much hype as the Dodgers have, you have to wonder: are they really better than the Braves? Like that's a serious, legitimate question. Are the Dodgers better than the Braves? I think they have maybe some more like young talent that could move the needle for them, both on the pitching staff and in the lineup. But the top for the Braves, like the Braves just as they are now, are just so freaking good. You know what? I'm going to say Braves are going to be the National League team to beat. Dodgers in second. I think that's fair. Third place, I think, is going to be... Oh, how much better do I think the Cubs and the Diamondbacks are going to be? I think the Cubs are going to improve a little bit more. But I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to be far behind. And then I think the fifth place will be the... who do I have in National League East? I had the Phillies. I forgot about the Phillies. You know what? I'm going to say the Diamondbacks are going to be better. Do I think the... Suddenly, this is really tough. You know what? Okay. I'll say... I'll say Phillies 4th, Diamondbacks 5th, but I think this is going to be really close. And then 6th, I'm going to give it to the Giants. Giants take the third wild card. All right, AL World Series team. Total crapshoot right here. My AL winners were the Astros, Orioles, Rangers, Tigers, and who else? Did I say the Yankees were going to make the postseason? I did. And Mariners. Do I have the Mariners making the playoffs? I think I do. I already forgot my own answers. Let me go back. Oh, and the Rays. Okay, who do I think is going to be the World Series team? You know what? I'm going to be real. I think that the Orioles are, like, now that the Orioles have kind of been there in the postseason, they're going to be hungry for it. So you know what? I think Orioles World Series. That's going to be it. National League World Series team. I kind of want to. I feel like I want to make this a bold prediction. Like I want to make it a fun result, because honestly, like, we know once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. It's like a total crapshoot. It's like I don't know. You know what? And let's have some fun with this. Let's say Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm going to say the Diamondbacks go back to the World Series. I think that would be so much fun. I think, like, imagine if the Diamondbacks go back again. That would be just fantastic. And then the World Series winner. I think if those two teams go head to head, it's going to be the Orioles winning. Yep, Orioles World Series win. How many World Series games will be played? I think it'll be 7. I think it'll be close, because 7-game World Series are fun. And how many runs will be scored? I don't know how many runs are scored, like, normally. What was last World Series? How many runs did that one have? Let's see, 11 plus 10 plus 4, so we're at 25, 36, 43, 48. That was only a 5-game series, but that was a lot of runs. That was like almost an average of 10 runs. So I feel like that's not too far off. So even for a 7-game, I'm going to say 55 for a 7-game series. Actually, that still seems really high. Well, I don't think it's unfair to say that there will be like 7 to 8 runs scored total per game. So yeah, that's fine. 55. In fact, maybe it's a little bit low. You know what? Actually, maybe I should go back. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say 62. I'll add a few more. Who will lead the MLB regular season in home runs hit? Oof. Okay, I didn't know these were questions here. I'm gonna say Nelson Velasquez of the Royals now. I think it's gonna be Ohtani. I'll just say Ohtani, because why not? I guess. It's kind of crazy how he doesn't have like top odds. He's kind of close though. He has the same odds as Kyle Schwarber. I guess that makes sense. I forgot Kyle Schwarber hit like 45 home runs last season or something. It was hilarious. Regular season in strikeouts pitched, I think it's gonna be. I think it could be Spencer Strider, of course. Will it be though? Thing is, here's an interesting thing. Corbin Burnes is going to be facing some much more strikeout-heavy offenses in the AL East, so that could be an interesting factor. Should I go for the safe pick in Strider, or should I go for a slightly more bold pick in Corbin Burnes? I think I'll go with Burnes. Let's have fun with it. Who will lead the MLB regular season in stolen bases? I have no reason to believe that it won't be Acuna again, so I'll say him. Which team will have the highest winning percentage in the MLB regular season? I'm going to say it's the Braves. I think the Braves will be the best team overall, at least in the regular season. Which team will have the lowest winning percentage in the regular season? I think that's going to be the Rockies. Actually, See, here's the thing: the Rockies are bad, but they themselves have some interesting young talent. They have no pitching though. Actually, yeah, it's going to be the Rockies. Like the Rockies, it's not unfathomable to think that the Rockies could have some kind of decent lineup. You know, even if like the Rockies could have a lineup that has like a 95 weighted runs created plus, but then you think, who the hell is pitching for that team? And it's like, okay, that it's going to be bad for them. So yeah, I'll say Rockies worst team. Also, they play in the NL West, which is a super competitive division outside of them. All right, AL most valuable players. So Juan Soto has top odds, J-Rod, Seager. You know what? Seager has just been so fantastic. Even though he's already like a little bit injured, I think he's going to miss opening day. Actually, I don't remember how much time he's going to miss. How much time is Corey Seager going to miss? Because that actually, I think, will determine it. Oh, okay. So Seager might not actually miss that much time. Yeah, okay, Seager. Especially since I have this stupid, shitty meme about Corey Seager because he was mentioned in Great Pretender one time, and I thought that was stupid. I didn't actually think it was stupid. I just thought it was kind of funny, and I pointed it out. But then I accidentally made it. Like, I posted this right before the playoffs started in 2020. So keep in mind, Corey Seager wasn't, like, that great of a player. And then he had that 2020 where he was, like, the NLCS MVP and World Series MVP for the Dodgers that season. And it's just been amazing ever since. Like, literally right when I posted that, he became this unbelievably godly player. All right, most valuable player in the National League. Oh, this one's tough. This one's tough. I think Tatis is gonna. I think he's gonna go off this season. Tatis coming back from injury and ringworm, you know, he was pretty good, but I think that being a year removed from all that, he's gonna like really unload. Not too unlike Ronald Acuna Jr. after he came back from his his ACL tear. All right, American League Cy Young. Okay, we've got Corbius, Luis Castillo, Pablo Lopez. I'm gonna say Cole Reagans, baby. I'm gonna say Pablo Lopez. Pablo Lopez had the best expected stats I think of any pitcher last season, at least in the American League. So I'm gonna give it to him. Pablo Lopez is just a fantastic guy. And then in the National League, who's going to win it? Spencer Strider has top odds. That's pretty cool. We like to see that. I'm going to give it... I'm going to be a little fun and just say, for funsies, Zach Gallen, my guy. Love that dude. AL Manager of the Year. It'll be AJ Hinch, because I think the Tigers will make the postseason. And people always love it when, you know, managers make bad teams good, even though Hinch has been there for 3 years already. I think that people would say like, hey, the Tigers are actually hang on, we have to consider this. The Royals might improve a lot and be like surprisingly good this season, and if so, then people will say, hey, look at that manager who, you know, somehow improved this team by 20 games. So that is something to consider as well. I'll still give it to Hinch. I'll just give it to Hinch. Just be a little safe. And then National League Manager of the Year. Since I don't think there are too many surprises in the National League, I'm going to say it's going to be Craig Counsell of the Cubs. Now of the Cubs. Okay, Rookie of the Year award. I have no freaking idea. I don't even really know all that much about the rookies and guys who are option 18. Someone messed up there. I don't really know like who's coming up in the majors, I guess. I just know a couple, like Colt Keith, I guess. I'll just say Colt Keith. Why not? I'll just predict he kind of goes off for the Tigers this season. National League Rookie of the Year. Jackson Merrill made the opening day roster for the Padres, so that's pretty cool. I don't entirely know how many other guys are around there. I'm going to say Jung Hoo Lee. I'll say him. Oh, yeah, they kind of messed these up a little bit. Oh, well. And then make a prediction about the 2024 baseball season. Ooh. I mean, you don't get scored for this, so I could literally just write down, like, baseball games will be played. Ha ha ha. What's a bold prediction I can make? What's something, like, weird that I think will happen? I have no idea, to be honest. Let me think about this for a second, then I'll come back when I have it. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. My prediction about the 2024 baseball season. Mike Trout will play. Actually, not even Mike Trout. Anthony Rendon will play more than 100 games. The Angels will still suck. That's what I think. I think Mike Trout. I think Anthony Rendon is not entirely fairly maligned. So I'm gonna stick up for him and say he's gonna prove the haters wrong this season. I'll say that. Anthony Rendon will prove the haters. I'll say the haters wrong and play more than 100 games this season. The Angels will still suck. Okay, submitting that. So there it is. Okay, that is going to do it for this. I'll come back to this in like 6 or 7 months and see if how well I did or didn't do. And yeah. So that's it. Goodbye.